medical staff and I, just because of our precautions and just coming back from being 0 to 100. Then I had some nagging stuff at the end of the year we're trying to clean up too. So we're looking at it from all angles, but I'm definitely working out every single day in here. It's good to be back in the facility, but I'm not swayed one way or another. Oh, it's tough, man, because it's from walking in the building to leaving the building. It's totally different than how we would coming back in October and November. Because of one, it's COVID and quarantine, and being safe and making sure all that's good. And then on top of that, there's on the workout side, it's all individuals. There is no contact, there is no 2-on-2, no 3-on-3, no 5-on-5. There's none of that. So it's more or less just getting individual work in, almost like the summer. So it's tough. You can see the gauges and getting better, but I'll always say, like, you're never in shape until you're actually playing the game of basketball. So all of us, and even guys on other teams, I don't think anybody's going to really come in full tip-top shape because nobody was able to play 5-on-5. Nobody's able to hit set screens, get hit, fall on the ground, get up, play defense for 24 seconds, offensive rebound, play defense again. Like, these type of things get guys tired, and we haven't had that type of atmosphere in an individual workout. But there's stuff that we can constantly get better. You can work on your individual game. And then once we're able to put it all together, hopefully you can see the growth in everybody.
In terms of test results, I will refer to the communication that the league is doing and their direction in communications. They refer to the results on overall league earlier this week, and in that sense, I feel that we've been able to do a really good job. To be honest, and as I mentioned before, there's been a lot of effort in our side with our medical team, with the support of the MedStar ID specialist, but also the league has provided really good recommendations. They come up with a protocol that, like I said, we internally shaped up. But basically, and this is not gonna be surprising. Basically, it's just social distancing and keeping the space clean. Like simple things like keeping all the doors open so we minimize the touching points, cleaning shoes, cleaning phones, cleaning keys, like everything that comes into the facility is being cleaned. There is no touching points that are shared. Those spaces like the weight room where there is sustained contact, they're always clean after each use. Every player and every coach use gloves, masks at all times.
The building, the people that had to do this layout every single day, the cleaning, the constant update, and the constant communication from Sashi Brown and his group all the way through all of everybody with Monumental Sports has been fantastic. Because we were working with the Mystics were in our building shortly, and now they're working out at Cap One, but we had to have a quarantine court at Cap One when people came back to market. So there was so much adjustments and communication that needed to happen, and we set up a fantastic setup over at the arena as well. And I think that just goes back to show with the Monumental family, we had a pretty big task in front of us. Everybody pitched in, and it's been a great outcome for us. It's so unusual. The first workout, you come in and your coach is wearing a mask and gloves. And now it's just normal. It's part of what we're doing. Everybody's used to it, and we're getting great workouts. We added a second coach to the court, more shots for the player, a little bit more intense workout, and then next week we'll continue to ramp up. So, we can talk about how it used to be, and that's not going to help anything. We got to talk about this is what we have to deal with, and this is how we're going to get better, and just keep looking forward. I think that's the best way we've been found the most success is just let's look forward. Let's continue to get better every day and get used to this. This is the new normal right now, and let's everybody get your arms around it. Guys are coming in, getting tested. It's normal now. Everything that was strange before when it first starts, it's all part of our day, and that's how it's going to be, and it's going to be that way every day in Orlando. So we're getting our arms around what's ahead.
Yeah, I've been able to work on my overall basketball skill. Consistency of my shot making has gone up as well, and just being safe about it. Whether it's getting into like a little gym or having a hoop for myself, just making sure that I get the reps in no matter what it is. The feedback and critiquing comes from the Zoom calls and the one or two people that I might have with me, and just working on the mental aspect of the game of when I'm tired, can you still be consistent on getting a stop or making a shot? And if you don't make the shot, then you got to run. So that's even more work right there. So I've been going through that development and mindset of, do I want to run or do I want to make this shot right now? So make the shot.
Well, the first question with Davis, certainly, he's a very big piece of our team. And that was certainly something that he had given me a heads up plenty of time before. We discussed it with Coach. We brought it up. And we certainly support his reasons for not playing. And while he'll be missed, I'm really excited about the group that we have moving forward. And we know how much Davis means to this team moving forward. In terms of any other player has not given any indication whatsoever. We've had great workouts. We've got a great spirit going right now with this team as they're preparing for this journey, as I mentioned. With Bradley Beal, just like we're taking it with every single player, you've got to put yourself a little bit in our shoes. What we need to do to prepare to go to Orlando is be in Washington, D.C. right now and have a great day. And then tomorrow we get up and we do the same thing again. And we tie all those days together and we get to July 7th and we'll get on a plane, we'll get to Orlando and we'll start that process again. I don't want to look too far ahead on any player. Certainly with Bradley, we're going to be very protective of him, but of all of our players. This is a different, unique ramp up. We've had lockouts in the NBA. We've had different times where guys were separated from basketball due to injury or something, but nothing where the entire league really has not played a game at all during this entire stretch and really hasn't had the opportunity to practice as an NBA team used to practicing. As you know, back in March, he was scrimmaging with our Go-Go. He was practicing with the Wizards, and he was in a pretty great place. And then this unfortunate time off happened, and he kind of had to go back. I'm not going to say to square one, but he definitely lost all the basketball gains that he had made. This kind of got pushed back because of all this. So without going to taking him to Orlando, he'll be down in Miami. He'll be back and forth in D.C. We have coaches that, we're not taking our entire coaching staff. The traveling party is 35 people. So we have coaches that will remain behind and coaches that will work with him. He's already on his off-season schedule. What he's doing is similar to last off-season. John was working at a PT clinic supervised by our people. He's working with a weight strength and conditioning coach supervised by our people. And then we'll rotate through as we come from Orlando. Whenever that is, hopefully it's after a good run in the playoffs, but whenever that is, we'll certainly have people with him. But we have people with him now. And, the last thing I ever have to worry about is John Wall's work ethic. He's going to get after this. This is a very critical off season to him, DA. And I think he's got a very, very big chip on his shoulder, as you've had articles with him and he's discussed that with you. But certainly, I think he really wants to get back to playing basketball. As for why he's not going with us to Orlando, I think it certainly makes sense. He's got to focus on what he's got to do. But having somebody go into that bubble that's not going to play, that's just more people going into the bubble. I think everybody in the NBA is very cognizant of how important it is that we have a very, very small group of people in that bubble, and that everybody absolutely, as we go through the days that go by, I don't think it's wise to have people that are in that would be around the team that aren't playing, just for the possibility that extra, exposure, whatever it would be over there. I think it's just wise for everybody. But certainly John, his leadership is felt every day. He's jumping in, he's texting guys, calling guys. He's been on Zoom calls with the team as we're preparing for this. So we hear from him, we see him, and we know what he's doing. Danny, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I would just add that this is his program is his continuation of the work that he's been doing here. He's been fantastic. He's been keeping his weight and being active during all this period. And this will be a continuation of the work and the plan that we've done for him. He's in permanent supervision with our team, coaches and PTs, athletic trainers, everyone. So we're gonna make sure that he has his body and his mind at the highest level for a safe and successful return when he comes back.
Smiling, we're talking about that right now. As a matter of fact, we have a conference call tonight. The NBA Disney and the Union. I think there's 5 teams that are going to be on the call. They're going to do this over the next 3 days, Mr. Yates, and show exactly the environment that we're about to enter. See each team will see their hotel, see what's on the property. A lot of times I think organically things grow when you get there. Everybody kind of has the different things that they like to do. Some people like to go play golf. Some people are at the pool. Some people are out and about. But normally, I don't recall having a lot of free time during the season. When you're in between games and you're moving on to the next game, most guys like to sleep after games. They like to sleep after practice. So we are going to have a lot of team bonding opportunities. We're looking at different things that the players would like to do. We're open to suggestions, certainly, but we got to get a kind of a good inventory of what all is going to be available. We have a pretty close-knit team, and a lot of the young guys, a lot of it's based on the time, especially when we're traveling. Obviously, we got a lot of foodies on the team. We got a lot of guys that love to go to movies. There is bowling there, supposedly, so there's going to be some stuff. I think Disney's teeing up as well, first-run movies, things like that. I'm sure we'll be all over that. But it's an ongoing discussion of what we can best do to serve our players to bond. A lot of times, again, I go back to the word organic. It has to grow. When we get there, we'll see it. But our players, I feel very strongly about the leadership Bradley Beal brings to this group and all the young guys and the way that they all kind of follow him. And he'll kind of, on the road, normally he'll take guys out to dinner. He'll take the team out once or twice. Those are things they're used to doing. So once we get a pretty good idea of what the property holds and what opportunities are there, certainly they can take advantage of some of those things. But we'll also probably try to normalize it as much as possible. What we normally do on the road, and after a game, guys always get together. Well, after the game, you're not showering. You're getting on a bus and go back to the hotel. So we have to figure certain things of recovery and stuff together, and how that's going to be. So some of that we still have to discover, but it's a great question, and I'm really excited about how our guys will manage that coming together. We're going to make any opportunity that they feel is strong that they want to do. We'll make sure we do those things. But I don't want to be the activities director laying it out.
I will give you a first kind of overview, and I'm pretty sure Tommy can pitch in on the setup that we're going to find down there. I'll tell you, the difference down there is going to be, like you said, right now we're one-to-one. We're individuals that try to not have contact with each other. So we can, if in case you have a positive, you can easily isolate that particular player or coach. When we get down there, and due to the testing program that NBA has been carrying on since last week, we're going to be pretty sure that everyone is not infected, and the more time that we're going to spend in the bubble, the better is going to get. We're going to be undergoing daily testing, which basically allows to an early detection of asymptomatic patients, and again, not to have to shut down a lot of people. That implies that social distancing, it will be present to a degree. To your question, hotels are going to be shared. There's going to be, and there is authorized contact in between teams, but again, wearing masks, respecting physical distancing, and basic rules that they're no different than what you need to do in a day-to-day basis. There are some restricted areas once the teams are practicing. We're assigned to different courts on a rotation basis, as I understand, in different times. And those times it's going to be only our team in that particular weight room or gym, and everything will be deep clean after each team uses it. So in a sense, I would say the dynamic will be pretty similar. It will be blending more and more our social interaction as a group. As the more we interact, the time goes by, we'll be considered as a family, household members, right? So as we live together and we spend more time together. So I would say probably, and a lot of it is still ongoing. It will evolve organically over the weeks. and we're going to have more restrictions in the first 2-3 weeks that we're going to have by the time that we're competing. But that's basically how it's going to look. There's some different hotels with different teams, some limitations in the interactions, but yeah, from a medical perspective, it all comes down to basically the same principles.
And so
I don't know,
when,
Tommy, if go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just really quick. So when they come into the bubble, they get tested right when they come in, and then when they leave, they get tested, or how does that work?
The process is we're being tested every other day right now. We're flying on the 7th, and we're going to be tested on the 5th, 6th, and at arrival on the 7th. Once we're tested in the 7th, we're going to be in our rooms for 36 hours until we get the results of the first test. Then a second test is going to take place 24 hours apart. And if both tests are negative, we're going to be allowed to go out after these 36 hours. So, I would say that the entrance in the bubble is going to be a unique experience, being 36 hours straight in the room, and I think we're getting ready for that to make it a more palatable experience, I would say, as much as we can. And after that, we're going to be tested daily. So the level of I would say risk is going to be diminished, and that's what is ultimately what is going to allow people to interact safely. And like I said, it's going to definitely allow to have an early detection capability of any symptomatic case.
I would piggyback off what Danny is saying. Again, we're waiting for our practice schedule, but we're going to have 4 teams share one facility. And we have a 3-hour practice window to use the weight room, to use the training room, to have practice. So we're going to have to be really diligent about how we map out our day to be the most efficient. But one thing I think this is going to present that's a challenge, and one thing I'm excited about, some of the people on our roster are used to national team type of play, national team type of format. We're going to have practices at 9 in the morning. We're going to have practices at 7:30 at night. I think 5 of our games are before 4 o'clock or at 4 o'clock. Those are very unusual start times, very unusual practice times. Those are things that we're going to have to adjust to. But we have a lot of players that have been in national programs, either with USA Basketball, with Basketball Germany, and certainly Team Japan. So there's some people that are going to be used to that, and that helps us a little bit ahead of time, that it's going to seem pretty normal to them. And we're going to have to get pretty friendly with each other as it's a smaller group. We can have a lot of people helping out on the floor. Our coaches will take care of business there, but in terms of especially getting guys through the day, we're going to all have to pitch in and help people.
Yeah, I mean, that's always tough because they're all so important. And they all help me and I help our players in so many different ways. But we had to have a number. The NBA gave us a cap, and so we had to figure that out with the players, and then so many medical and coaching and bench coaches, and so we had to figure it out. What I just tried to do, what guys can do the majority of their job remotely, and when I felt that they could do a lot of their job remotely, I gave them, the opportunity to do that. And the guys were great. And one thing I do have working alongside with me are a lot of team players, and they understand that the decision wasn't tough. It wasn't that I don't think their job is important, but they knew that I had to make decisions. And Tommy and I, we felt that we had to do the best decision for the team. And that's how we came up with that. But a lot of our guys, all of our guys that are not down in Orlando, will be doing a lot of work. And you're just not going to be there physically, but you're going to be there in Zoom calls and meetings, and we're going to be connected with them quite a bit. So in that aspect, they're very much a part of the team.
Scotty, just as a follow-up, were there any coaches on your staff that came to you and said they would prefer to opt out of going down there but do their job remotely, as you said?
No, you know what? I gave every coach, out of respect. This is new. I mean, this has never happened before. I mean, this is a worldwide pandemic, and now the league has started up, and they're going to put us in one of the safest places probably in the world. And so I gave all the coaches, and out of respect to them and how they all the hard work that they've given to the organization and with their families, and all of them said, hey, if I can go, I want to go. I want to be around the guys. They love this group of guys. This group of guys is fun to be around. You never know what you're going to get on certain days, but they're going to give you great effort. And so all the coaches wanted to go down there. I did not have one coach that volunteered that they did not want to go. I had to make the tough decision. I was, on the easy part for me would have been, 7 or 8, 9 guys would have said, coach, I don't feel comfortable going down there. But no, we had all of our coaches wanted to go, and our medical staff as well.
For us, you want to take as many healthy players as possible. We haven't zeroed in on the final list is still kind of a work in progress. We're going to take, anywhere 15, 16 players. Obviously, Davis isn't going to go. We're replacing him. John won't go. So then we're going to probably have 8 coaches, 7 medical. And then we have some additional positions. Myself, I will go. We have a security person. We have an athletic trainer. We have PR's got a couple of folks going. So, who those people are going to be just kind of depends on how the next couple of weeks go. We're assuming everybody that we have kind of listed, hey, we're going to be healthy and we'll go. But you have to be able to think logically that if there's something that doesn't work, if somebody, say they contracted the virus, whatever, that you have somebody in place and ready to go just in case.
I would say my decision on that would be if the whole league and a lot of guys as a union decide that this is what we want to focus on, I support that. Because I look at it from, I'm kind of neutral in this situation because I get it from the standpoint of a guy who doesn't make a lot of money, who may need this. I get it from the guys who want to utilize this money to give back to their communities. I look at it from the standpoint of guys who just want to focus on straight social justice. So I get it from every standpoint. I'm literally like right in the middle, and I'm not swayed one way or another. Like money wise, I'm fine. I'm one of the guys who it'll affect me, but I won't be too affected, So I get it from the standpoint of those who who need to go down and play, to be able to support themselves and their family. So I'm just kind of in the middle, honestly.
I don't like people telling me what I can and cannot do, but I also follow rules as well. So that's one thing about it. There's some things you're going to like. There's some things you're not going to like. That's how life is. So you just have to adjust to them. With Bertans and Brad not knowing what they're going to do, either way, I support them 100%. Bertans feels like what he did was best for him and his family, so you can't get mad at him for that. And Brad's going to do what he feels is best for him and his family as well. For me personally, going down there to Orlando, it's going to be another thing of me, proving myself again and coming out the gate to show that I'm fully healthy and can play this game at the top level again as well.
And also, Tommy Shepard said that there is a high expectation for you going into the bubble. And then there's been a lot of talk about people saying like, oh, the Wizards shouldn't even be going to Orlando. What are your thoughts on that? And being one of the, leaders on the team, what are your thoughts about that?
People are going to say what they want to say. They'll see when we get down to Orlando that we've all been improving. And you'll see a spark from us. So people are going to say what they want to say. It's a freedom of speech. People have the right to say what they want. But for me personally, they'll be eating those words. And what was your other question?
Tommy Shepard said that he has high expectations for you. And so what are you kind of spoke on it, but what are more of the expectations that you have for yourself?
My expectations for myself is going out there and being a dominant force like this team needs me to be, and how Tommy wants me to be, and how the coach needs me to be. So that's my high expectations, going out there, giving all my effort, no matter what it is, in order to win the game.
In terms of get better and make a playoff push?
Yes.
I think you can, but I would say it won't be easy. And the reason I say it won't be easy is because of the way it's kind of set up. Like we don't have that everyday, all day access like we do in a facility or on the road. Like, and even now, there's no 5-on-5, there's no 5-on-0, there's no really continuity that we're developing until we get to Orlando. So I think from that standpoint, that'll be where kind of, can we get better, in this short amount of time? I think that'll probably be the biggest question. I think from what I see on a day-to-day from, the time slots we have, and guys are in here, guys are working in the gym, in the weight room, we're being social distance, but we're getting work in and it's good work. So I think from that standpoint, we're looking at it from it's a great opportunity in front of us. These guys are excited. We're happy that, we have a chance to be able to play for something still. We didn't want to be a team that was sitting at home for the next 6 months. Like that'd be a little bit miserable. But it's definitely, it's enlightening to see. I think it's possible, but I will say it'll be a challenge because of the way everything is kind of set up. Like it is, and that's kind of where my decision making and coming back is kind of playing a toll too, because we can't play 5-on-5 until we get to Orlando, and that's okay. So now you're saying we only have 2 weeks to really fully get in basketball shape, and until we have to be balls out, to make a playoff push. So it's a little tough. Everybody, I feel like I'm not the only one that thinks like this. There's going to be a lot of guys who probably think like this. And I think our staff in general has this same regard for the whole team, from starting from zero, gradually trying to ramp things up. And then all of a sudden, boom, we're right back into, playoff type atmosphere basketball. And that's going to be a little tough. It's going to be a little tough.
Defense is going to win this game. We're going to score. We're going to score the best of them. We're going to hang in there, but we can't outscore people. We have to have that mindset of defensively. All of us have to be together as one. And that was my main mindset of changing my mindset throughout the quarantine, of having a defensive mindset from the jump. Don't have it come to me, have it right there right away, and the offensive game is going to take care of itself. We just have to get stops. Stops more consistently.
Obviously, the issues that we have to assess has changed from the beginning in terms of expectative and everything around the players. We had a pretty solid platform this year, led by Derek Anderson, and basically what we've been doing since day one. Our mental health and psychologists have been available to the players at all time. They have been interacting. I will tell you, and since there is a lot of, and we promote obviously this private space for them to work, but this general anxiety of what's going to happen in terms of returning. Some of them have been away from their family. It raises questions, things like what impact this is going to have in future contracts. At this point, some of those issues were probably the main ones that we had to face initially. Now all the questions are more into, how are we going to handle the fact that we're going to be 7 weeks locked down with no contact at all with the families, and the high risk of injury that we're going to face as well, and what potential impact that will have in their career. In that sense, and to support and promote openness, that one of the main issues that is acknowledged in all what it has to do with the mental health, it's to find the space and privacy and some element that sparks that connection. So basically what we've been doing is just throughout putting together some videos, short videos on different topics during all this period, at least twice a week, that have really sparked this need and establish and build and bridge this need of communication in our players with their mental health team. So in that sense, it's ongoing. It's been one of the main pillars of our performance support throughout all this time, and we're pretty happy with the outcome and the usage that the players have been doing of our mental health colleagues. So, like I said, in that sense, basically you know, existential. I would say it was. It will define the first phase of the focus for the issues that we had to face, and now they're most professionally and personally and performance driven. That's basically what we're working right now.
Thank you.
It's gonna be. Listen. It's not a walk in the park, and I think that's where a lot of guys are concerned about, is that we can't just leave. We can't just order whatever food we want. We can't just do activities in which we want to do. We can't go to our teammates' room. Like, there's a lot of shit that we can't do, and so it's tough, because I get you from a mental awareness, standpoint of, you're so used to doing this, that, and the third on the road, and now you're constrained, you're restricted. You can't do the things that you're normally used to doing. That's just like having access to the gym at night. Like, a lot of guys love to go after games or go after practice, go in at night and shoot for hours if they want to. Can we still have that access? I don't know. They say we can, but I don't, that's not for sure. So I get it. Like, I think it is definitely a concern. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of, therapists down there for us and programs to help us with that. They're trying to keep it as freelancing as possible, but it will be tough, because you're asking people to basically stay in their rooms and play basketball. So it's kind of treating it like, almost like a camp back in high school back in the day. Like, yeah. I never fully explained the story. I gave a shorter version, but so I was pulled over, and it was an unlawful search. He said my tent was too dark, and so I guess they gave him reason to search the car. And so I was being respectful. We stepped out of the car, my wife and I and my one of my friends at the time. We all stepped out of the car. We sat on the side of the highway. I asked the officer, can I put my hood up? Because I'm literally sitting on the highway. There's traffic, so there's people slowly driving by, just looking at, like, okay, what's going on over there? Who's that? So seeing that, like, I'm like, all right. I asked the officer, can I put my hood up? He said, for what? I said, I would just like to not be seen out in public. And so he goes on to say, well, who are you? What do you do? And I say, well, sir, you've seen my license, so I think I will hope you know that my name is Bradley Beal, but I play basketball for the Washington Wizards. And so, complete left turn. His next question was, well, how much money do you make a year? Well, okay. I didn't want to be a smart ass, but I was like, officer, I don't want to be smart, but I think I make more than you per year. And then he said, well, I can arrest your ass right now and fuck up your headline and have you on SportsCenter on Monday. And just all, for what? For what? Because I had too dark of a tent, like, that's a ticket and let me go. But instead it was one, get out the car, search us, sit on the side of the highway, search the car, find nothing, then proceed to say, I will arrest you just to fuck up your Monday headline. Not arrest me because you found anything, not arrest me because I did something wrong, but arrest me just because you can. That's the shit we deal with in everyday life. I don't tell it because I'm not the only black person that's went through that. I'm not the only athlete that's been in that situation. And he let me go. I didn't go to jail for it. So
it's been difficult. It's been very difficult, especially for me and my family. But for me, I have to be the anchor for my family, no matter what it is. And throughout this whole time of, just with the George Floyd things, the coronavirus things, I have to be the anchor for my family, no matter what. Even if I'm upset about it, I have to make sure I have the persona of making sure I tell my family it's going to be all right. We're going to be all right, no matter what it is, and it's very difficult, especially just with the racism that's happened and continuing to happen. And it sucks because people always say history repeats itself, and it's repeating itself right now, but we have to make a change. We have to make a change for it to not keep repeating itself. And that's the biggest step that, African Americans have to take in order to make sure we get the equality that we need and deserve. Personally, I haven't thought of any names that I've been wanting to put on the back of the jersey. I've been thinking about it, but I don't know what I'm going to do with that aspect right now. For me personally, with the NBA backing us up, I really think it's a great thing. You know, I think it's wonderful that the NBA is backing us up about it, and would show us encouragement of having to change our jerseys, the back of our name of our jerseys to bring out social injustices and and to show people that we stand for equality and the NBA stands for equality as well with us.
To that decision?
A little bit, because we kind of created a little panel within our organizations for social justice calls, and on those calls, like in the Zoom calls that we create, like just hearing her passion and her energy, it didn't surprise me with her decision.
Yeah.
Because this is something that she's very headstrong about. She's very headstrong about reform in this world and creating change, especially gun violence at that. Like she's very, very adamant and strong on those topics, So it didn't surprise me for one. I think it ultimately just came down to her focus being mainly on social justice and creating change versus hooping. And I fully understand that. And there's several other players on our team who have the same feeling, who aren't playing, who aren't going, some for health reasons and some for social justice reasons, So it's a tough time we're in. You can't be too judgmental on people's decision making in this time, because you gotta understand and kind of have a sensitive heart to what's going on in the world. And it was, I don't know, because I was really looking at it from the standpoint of, how can we say something, make a message, but also be firm about it, and kind of, be very aggressive, but not sugarcoat anything, but not be too ugly and be disrespectful with it, And for me, it was just speaking from the heart, I just honestly felt like that's what needed to be said, It was crazy because the first statement we came out with as a team, I came up with was Sashia, and we knocked it out and shot it over to my teammates. We all agreed upon it and posted it. And a couple weeks later, I was like, man, the Mystics didn't say anything, and I was like, that bothered them, that bothered us. And we said, let's come together and write a statement. And, some time rolled over and I was like, F and I'll just write one, and I just wrote it. I wrote the whole thing. And my mindset was, get a point across, don't be,
But I appreciate the first part of your comment. And going back to what Clinton Yates had asked about, one very important thing that we'll be able to do in Orlando is continue our social justice platform. And our players will be free to really speak on issues that are important to them. We've done a great job here. And I cannot say enough about the contributions from Sashi Brown, from John Thompson III, Sashia Jones, everybody that had anything to do with our players, with the demonstration that they did last week with the Mystics, but also all the other events leading up to that, and certainly the months ahead of us, all the work that we have ahead of us. The players will have the freedom to do so many things in Orlando also, and continue to raise that platform. And then we look forward to hearing from them and their programs that we support 100%. And I think one thing that we continue to do is gain wisdom and get knowledge, get educated on what the issues exactly are and how we can best serve moving forward to impact change. If it's getting involved in getting the vote out, if it's getting involved in local government elections, how we can best educate everybody to the welfare of the whole, right? And this is a very, very big opportunity, and the NBA has supported that 100% for all of our players. And I think the Washington Wizards, the Washington Mystics specifically, have walked that walk, and they'll continue to, and they're challenging each other. We're holding all of us accountable to our actions moving forward. So I appreciate you pointing out about the T-shirt, honoring Juneteenth. Those are things that starts with Ted Leonsis and the Monumental Group and goes all the way through the entire organization of Monumental Basketball. Can't thank them enough for their support.